Hello, whisperers. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy tonight's tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps more than you know. Now, dim the lights, and let's begin tonight's story. Dalton flicked rain off his cap and smirked at me while we were still in the helicopter doorway. Luke, if anything taller than you says hello, duck. If it falls out of a tree, duck faster. He said it playful, not mean, not cruel, just like a guy who already figured out fear was easier to swallow if you pretended you were already over it. I tried to grin back, but it probably looked thin. You're better now, I told myself. But this place doesn't care. Mercer didn't comment. He just stared at the massive dark wall of cedar tops rolling under us. Mount Baker National Forest at night didn't look like land. It looked like a living black ocean with a memory older than people. Rain came down sideways and made every trunk shine in the night vision wash like slick bone. When we touched down, the rotor wash shoved the smell at us. Wet wood, old iron, cold bark, headlamps off, NVG on. We moved fast off the bird and the helicopter sound vanished behind the trees like it got swallowed. The quiet felt heavy. I could hear my breath, and it made the night smaller. The first camp sat 50 yards into the timber. 2 cheap little tents, one half crushed like someone crawled out and didn't stop. A small stove flipped on its side. One boot near the fire ring pointing the wrong way. No bodies. Blood soaked into moss and looked almost blue in the NVG. It made the ferns glue together. There was a short drag, then nothing. Not a trail, not a fight, just gone. Like someone got lifted, like the earth took them back. Left, Dalton whispered. A cedar trunk 12 feet high had a smear, wide and dark, sliding downward like something hit at speed, slid, then pushed off again. No claw trace to count, no ladder, just impact and launch. Mercer tapped the bark gently with the back of his glove. Listening. Down fast, he said. Away faster. Then we heard it. Not a howl, not a roar. One sharp bark. A single hard knock like a fist hitting a table just once. Not animal claim call. Not fear threat. Just trigger. My arms prickled. Dalton stopped joking. Mercer only looked up into black cross-hatched branches where rain dripped in silver lines. Eyes high, Mercer said quietly. This one uses gravity. We shifted into triangle. Mercer in center, Dalton left, me right. Every footstep made tiny water sounds that felt way too loud. The rain softened until the drops felt like second hands on a clock counting our mistakes before we made them. We found a second site near a rotted nurse log. The log had been rolled like someone turned a car on its side with fingertips. Goat hair caught under the wood. Dirt churned. Zipper pull stuck to a root. Half a protein bar. Bitten with tooth marks too wide and too shallow at the same time. My muzzle stayed up, but my eyes kept wanting the canopy. Branches crisscrossed like ribs overhead. Ferns near my boots trembled even though there was no wind. Don't imagine shapes. Let the real shape reveal itself. Then it did. I didn't see a body first. I saw a gap between trunks turn darker. Then that dark turned into something long and wrong fast, sliding between two cedars without sound. Not bulky like stories. Thin, rope strong, dry muscle, long limbs working like leverage frames. My finger almost jerked the trigger, but Dalton grabbed my sleeve hard once. Not yet. Don't waste the opening shot. Then the smell hit me. Hot pennies, like old sweat dried into gym mats. Sour metal, inside body stink. It clung to the back of my throat. "Luke," Mercer said, calm like he wasn't looking at a nightmare blueprint. "What do you hear?" I listen not for noise, for weight. "Branches respond after it moves," I said, like they remember the step. Mercer nodded once. "Yes, it likes the break, the impact." We found a yellow jacket torn clean at both shoulders. The sleeves weren't cut. They were just gone. Rain pooled inside like someone turned the jacket into a bowl. The wallet inside stuck to my glove like glue. Blood and water mix makes a truth nobody wants. I put it down carefully. It felt wrong to disturb it. Dalton checked tags inside the tent and went quiet. 3 campers. None of them were here. The bark came again, closer, like it wanted to nudge us forward into its preferred geometry. The cedars felt like they leaned in, or maybe that was just my knees not trusting themselves. Ground got spongy. A moss log lay across our path like a dead spine. Dalton stepped lightly, then hopped down. I followed, and my foot sank mid-shin into a mud pocket. A spike of cold shot up my leg, and I jerked up hard. Muzzle swung too fast, almost sent rounds into canopy. "Easy," Mercer said. "If you can still hear the rain, we still have rules." The forest didn't like that sentence, because the rain sound just stopped. I could see it falling, but I couldn't hear it touch anything. We pressed tight against a cedar thick enough to hide a small car. My pulse thumped in the mask foam. Dalton's breath slowed almost on command. And then something dropped into the ferns 15 feet out. Not lunged, not stepped, dropped, like a rope got cut. It rose slow, elastic, all tendon lines, 8 feet and some change, almost 9, but stretched wrong. Long legs, long femurs, forearms reaching way past knee line, wet ropes of dark hair hanging like kelp. It didn't look at us at first. It cocked its head slightly past us like it was waiting to hear a small thing break somewhere else. The face didn't have the courtesy to be animal, brow built like a visor, eye sockets deep, eyes flat and focused, no shine, mouth a line until it opened and showed square tool-like teeth. No glow, no mystic, no fairy tale, just a thing built wrong and built for force. Dalton's breath snagged once. Mercer lifted 2 fingers to wait. It stepped, slow, testing. The sound was a wet pop, like a soaked branch giving under slow tension. It likes that sound, I thought without meaning to. My fingers shook, and I squeezed the grip until the shaking had a job. Hips, knees, cord. Don't chest it. Don't chase eyes. It took another step, and there it was. Cleaner than any monster silhouette I've ever seen. caught between two cedars like a single brush stroke of dark motion. Not blur, not artifact, just the true shape. Thin, wrong. Watching us without caring that we were watching it back. Dalton said nothing for a long second, the kind of second where even thinking too loud feels like it might draw attention. Mercer didn't need to say anything either. One look at the creature told us this wasn't about hunger. This thing hunted for the sound. That snap. That wet pop it made when bone hit limit and went 1 inch past. We didn't move fast. We didn't blink fast. We eased back like we were trying not to wake a sleeping landmine. My heart tried to jump the line. Don't run. Running makes you a noise. Running here makes you an event. The creature slid backwards into the trees again like gravity could be defied if you just ignored it. We didn't chase. Mercer held his fist up. Stillness. Patience. Wait. Dalton flicked his eyes left because he saw prints. Deep. Not bare. Not human. Something huge had been sprinting in circles here, and whoever died here died in seconds. Fast kills. The kind that don't leave screams behind. The smell got worse the deeper we went. Sharp, metallic, sweat stench of 1,000 marathoners boiled inside a coffin. I felt bile rise and kept it down by biting the inside of my cheek. Don't show it fear. Don't look like prey. Prey makes sound. We came across the body 20 minutes later, or what was left of it. A hiker, mid-30s maybe. Backpack straps torn clean through like ribbon. One wrist still attached by skin like wrapping paper. The limbs had been yanked off, clean. Not sawn, not bitten, pulled. Bones white, tendons like fishing line. The torso was twisted like laundry. Dalton gagged. Mercer put a hand on Dalton's shoulder and pulled him back, like he was redirecting a child away from an electric outlet. "This is not a meal," he said quietly. "It's a break pattern test." I stared longer than I should have. I shouldn't have looked. He didn't get to know he was dead. That's the part that hurt worse. I could feel the echo of his last moment, like static. We started marking positions for a trap. The canopy made a perfect drop angle above a stump ahead about 30 yards. Dalton checked the branches. Mercer checked load-bearing points. I scanned the dark for movement. The world was too quiet again. Even the rain was trying not to exist. "This is where it likes to land," Mercer said. "Straight down. Max vector." "How do we force it here?" Dalton whispered. Mercer clipped a small device under the stump shelf. "We let it think we're stuck. We play vulnerable." He checked his watch. Steady, sure. Zero panic. I hated how right he was. We backed off 10 yards. The air felt electric. My lungs felt like something was pressing on them. "You do not die today, Luke. You do not freeze today." I repeated that silently over and over. My finger stayed on the frame of my rifle. Not trigger, frame. That mattered. Trigger was emotion. Frame was control. Then everything went wrong so fast, I almost didn't process the moment until it had already happened. The creature dropped from the canopy not at us, but onto a deer. A live deer. The deer didn't even scream. It folded like cardboard. The sound was a wet crack, pop crack, and it was done. Limbs snapped like someone twisting sticks to see if they'd break the same way twice. Dalton whispered, "Jesus Christ." Mercer didn't flinch. "This is what it likes. Remember this for shot placement. It doesn't brace to survive impact. It braces to maximize break." The creature lifted the deer torso like nothing, examining, listening, like it was replaying the sound in its head. Then it tossed the deer aside like it was bored. Its head jerked up toward us, like it remembered we were next. We took positions. My breath got shallow. "Luke," Mercer said quietly, "you need to take the lead shot this time. You've learned. This is your trial by fire." My stomach dropped. "Don't think about dying. Think about aim." Dalton shifted right. No joke in his body now. Mercer hit his safety with his thumb and waited. The creature stepped forward, slow, deliberate, testing footing, hair stuck flat like wet pine strips, every tendon visible, arms low like it was feeling the air for pressure changes. 10 yards, 8, 6. I sighted hips, knees, the math of motion breaking. I inhaled once. Mercer whispered, "On your shot." My finger started to take up first stage, and then something massive snapped above us again, further back in the trees. Not the creature we were tracking. Mercer's head turned sharply. Dalton's eyes went wide. "There's more than one," Dalton mouthed. And suddenly, that first creature didn't look curious anymore. It looked annoyed, like someone else was trying to take its kill. Everything went primal fast. The second creature didn't blink. It didn't posture. It didn't warn. It just dropped out of the cedar canopy like a spear and hit the first creature hard enough that the ground snapped like a brittle bone in winter. Dalton swore under his breath. Mercer stepped back one pace. I almost forgot to breathe. The two monsters didn't look at us again. We weren't the target anymore. They tore into each other like they'd been waiting years for permission. No howls, no screams, just wet impact. Bone against bone. Bodies slamming trunks until bark exploded outward like shrapnel. One went for the spine grip, the break point. The other countered by wrenching its forearm around an impossible angle. They moved quiet, but fast like geometry nightmares. All elbows and long rope muscle and wrong leverage. This wasn't dominance. This was possession of the right to break. Dalton whispered, "They like the sound so much. They'll kill each other for it." Mercer nodded once. "Then we kill the winner." The bigger one, or maybe just the more desperate one, landed a perfect chest collapse strike and folded the other creature in half like wet cardboard. The pop echoed like a snapped tree root. The loser dropped, dead before it understood loss. The winner turned toward us. Dalton didn't wait. He fired first. Hips, drop angle. I followed, straight to the lower spine. Control shots. Mercer finished neckline clean. Mechanical kill. The creature dropped with no ceremony. No last snarl. No final surge. It was just over. The forest seemed to exhale around us. Rain came back. Sound came back. The world felt three-dimensional again. Dalton slowly lowered his rifle. We almost died for absolutely nothing. No, Mercer said quietly. We learned the rule. I wiped my face, rain mixing with sweat. I don't like rules like this. What rule? Dalton asked. Mercer looked between the two bodies. Some monsters would rather die than let someone else have the break. We loaded the winner into containment mesh. The other body we left marked for a secondary team. FANG didn't take trophies. We only took data. Back on the Black Hawk, my hands didn't shake. Not once. They stayed steady the whole flight. I wrote this down before the blades cooled because tomorrow my brain will lie and say, this wasn't as bad. But it was. Two monsters killed each other to earn the right to break us next, and we only won because we waited for gravity to do half the work first. This was hunt number 12. And something tells me whatever hunt number 13 is, we won't be this lucky again.